When you hear the word Catholic, what comes to mind? Now, some people, your first thought would be like the Pope, or the Vatican, or church, or the Mass. But for others, your first word might be, it's old.
It's old.
It's harsh.
It's harsh.
It's out of touch.
It's out of touch.
It's full of hypocrites.
It's full of hypocrites.
I can understand why some people might look at Catholicism and feel like it's any or all of these things. But I will tell you, as someone who has had the chance not only to work for the church for the better part of the last 24 years, but also as somebody who has taken the time to study church history and theology and the writings of various different church leaders and popes and saints and things like that. None of this is what the church is or what the church aspires to be. I think that a lot of times these conclusions come from either a misunderstanding or an incomplete understanding of what Catholicism is actually about. Bishop Sheen, whose ministry took him on television and had him engage with the culture 50 and 60 years ago, said this: "There are not 100 people in America who hate the Catholic Church. There are millions of people who hate what they wrongly believe to be the Catholic Church, which is, of course, quite a different thing." And I think that that's still true to this day. That there are millions and millions of people who look at Catholicism and, based on their perception of Catholicism, have grown to hate it. Now, I'm not sure that in 5 minutes I can answer all of those different concerns, all of those different questions, all of those different issues that people have with the church. But I think what I can do is tell you why I'm a Catholic. Certainly, I was born into it. I grew up in it, but I made a conscious choice to stay here. And there are 3 reasons for that. The first is that the Catholic Church builds on a legacy that God has left throughout human history. When you look through salvation history, the story from creation through the fall to the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, God has always called certain people to lead his people. You hear about prophets and judges and kings in the Old Testament. Well, that legacy has continued in the New Testament with the apostles that Jesus called and their successors, the Pope and the bishops. They've been given the responsibility of trying to call us to follow Jesus, of trying to correct us when we go astray. Because God has never kind of left us to figure things out for ourselves. This has not been God's legacy. Why would he do that now? So he's left us this institution, this church, as a means to call us forward, to follow him. Second reason why I'm a Catholic is because I need it. I need the grace that comes from the sacraments. I need to have this sure place I can come back to again and again and again when I feel close to God or when I feel like I'm far away from God, when I feel like I'm living up to what I'm supposed to be, and when I feel like I'm falling short of that too. I need this place. I need this family that the church offers. I need this thing that is consistent when I'm not. And finally, I'm Catholic because it's true. This is ultimately probably the best reason to be a Catholic, because I believe it's true, because I believe when Jesus told Peter that upon this rock he would build his church and the gates of hell would not prevail against it, that Jesus' words could be trusted. I mean, the reality is this: if you're distracted from the church, or if you feel like the church is a hard place to be because you find hypocrites, well, the reality is they're not the example of what we aspire to be. That's what the saints are for. The saints are the ones who live up to what Jesus has called us to. The saints are the ones who exemplify who and what we're meant to be. Now, if you're somebody who struggles with Catholicism, I pray that there are people in your life you can sit down with. Because as much as videos like mine or different websites and the things you can find via Google can be helpful for figuring out this or that with the church, there has never been a better means to coming to know the church and to coming to love the church than someone who is a living witness. So whether that's a priest or a sister or some other kind of pastoral minister in your area, I pray that there's somebody around who can help you work through some of those questions, works through some of those concerns, work through some of those misunderstandings you have about what Catholicism is, so you too can discover a home here. Because you're wanted here, you're welcomed here, and you are loved here, even if you don't realize that.